What is going on, YouTube? It is Primitive here, and today I'm bringing you yet another BT6 match. This is going to be between myself on the left playing ShineGreymon, and on the right we are going to have Jesmon. Now, keep in mind that we don't have starter decks legal here yet, so this is going to be starter deck list Jesmon being played on the right, but I'm going to start off with the new promo Digimon. Going to go ahead and swing to get that win attacking effect, and then also hitting a TK, which is great for me because now I have a memory tamer and yet another tamer on board that will boost up my ShineGreymon, but my opponent did swing with the Digimon, which means that I am at lower security than my opponent, so I do get the boost from the TK Kari on top of my other Kari, and then I'm going to go ahead and block the Digimon swing on my opponent's turn now. They will get the win attacking, but I'm going to go ahead and just stop it now, so that way it is off the board, not getting any more checks, and I don't have to commit a swing into it. Going to get the Red Rise coming out and Digibursting to play yet another TK, and I'm going to grab Shine out of there. We're going to want that later in the game to be able to clear off and whatnot, but right now I'm just going to Digivolve into the Sakuyamon, which gives my opponent security attack -3 when they do promote. My opponent's going to go straight up into Jesmon in security, which is fine by me because, like I said, they are going to have security attack -3 when promoting, so I will be able to slow down some of the aggression coming here. My opponent's going to play the Judgment to try and swing over the Sakuyamon. My opponent does have the 2 inheritables to give security attack +1, but because the security attack -3, they aren't going to get any piercing checks here. They don't get to unsuspend because they have the Voltramon, but I am just going to block there. I do want my Sakuyamon to survive. This is one of the more key cards in the matchup because my opponent is going to want to go from raising, promote, and go for a lot of swings. So they're going to go ahead and blitz the Omnimon. They still have the Judgment, so once again they are targeting the Sakuyamon. I'm just thinking there if I want to let it go through, but I am just going to let it keep it up there. I am going to gain the extra 4 memory from the 2 TK Karis there, so I'm going all the way up to 7, meaning that I can do a lot of checks. I'm going to swing security and give -2k with the Rise inheritable, and then start going up and raising, trying to figure out how I want to navigate this turn. 7 memory is a lot. I'm surprised that I didn't swing targeting the Omnimon and then giving the -2k with the Rise and then giving another -2k with the TK Karis when attacking effects, but it doesn't matter because I'm just going to go ahead and go into the Sirenmon and go into Shine and give the -16k there. It's kind of similar there, and I do get the check, so I can go with it, but I could have gone for a more conservative play where I didn't have to use my Shine yet by just suspending my Tamers there, and then I could have gone wider on the board with the rookies, but the Sirenmon emergency button is going to come out with that Shine there. We're both at even security, so I'm no longer going to be getting the extra memory from the TK Karis, but I still can go ahead and suspend them both here to pop the Huckmon. Don't have any Patamon inheritables, so no memory gain, but getting a healthy check-in with me being at 15k and my opponent's security Digimon getting -3k DP from the Sakuyamon. I have nothing to really worry about of my Shine hitting there, so I want to get that aggression going and get as many checks as possible. My opponent's going to go straight into the Savior Huckmon, and then I'm just going to go up to 3 with the TK. We are sitting at a pretty good amount of Tamers, meaning that at any point the Shine is going to be pretty deadly, especially now that I play the 3rd TK. The on-play effect there is not going to activate because it doesn't activate with the Yellow Rise, but I can go ahead and get yet another check with the Shine. Going to leave the Sakuyamon unsuspended just because if I do hit an Omnimon in security, then my Sakuyamon will trade at the 11k and go down, so I don't want to risk that. I need my opponent to have security attack -3 on their Jesmon going into this turn, but they are going to go ahead and swing over the Shine, getting a big threat off the board, and then unsuspending with the Savior Huckmon. Now they're going to go ahead and go for Judgment. They're going to target the Sakuyamon, and not that I could even stop it, but I would just let it go through anyway. The Sakuyamon has done most of its job here because I just needed to stop the Jesmon from coming out and pretty much OTKing me. Now I have a pretty high chance of, if I have Shine or anything like that, I can just clear the board out. But I'm going to have to build up to that in the first place, and my Karis, or neither my TK Kari or my regular Karis are live, so I'm going to be able to just swing in here with the Kentorismon and potentially go for the 2 checks, which would be something that would really help me being able to clear out my opponent's security. So I am going to go ahead and commit that checks in here now. Also going to go ahead and tap one of the TK Karis here, which puts my opponent at just 14k because they do have the 2 seals, which will buff it up, but By giving it the -1k, it'll go down to 14, which means that I can go into the Valder. So my opponent did check. I was able to get rid of one of the Sistermons on board and the Jesmon, and now I have the Valderarm on board, which is going to have 2 checks thanks to the yellow rise. So it's not something that my opponent's going to easily be able to get over, just because it is pretty high DP, and if they do delete it, I am going to gain a bunch of memory, which will likely just end their turn. So going into my turn, I do have to deal with the fact that these Digimon are blockers here because they have the Huckmon on the board, but I can go ahead and just start swinging and pop the -2. Now they are no longer blockers, and I am going to, for some reason, just play a Starmons here, and then I'm going to realize that I can just swing in for game because they don't have blockers anymore, and then I can just hit the game right there. So a little unnecessary Starmons there at the end, but was able to take that. So now going into game 2, my opponent is going to have me going first. That is very common. If you watch me and Chris play, we are always going second in pretty much every matchup. So I'm going to start off with the TK, grab the Sirenmon out of there, and then Chris is just going to go ahead and Digivolve into the Greymon and then play the tie, put me back up to 3 with the TK. And now I'm probably just going to commit a Sirenmons that I grabbed out of here. This is pretty good because I get an ultimate out on the board. My opponent's going to 3 anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. And then now I have the 3 memory going into my turn, so I can Digivolve into one of my Megas on top of this Sirenmon, which is going to be fairly important. I'm going to have to decide which Digimon I want to put into raising first. Decided to go with the Starmons there. I think that was the only rookie choice that I had because I got the Pulsemon off the draw there, but I was hesitant if I wanted to put the Starmons in there just because it is a nice removal tool. We did get the Sakuyamon out, which means that my opponent is going to have security attack -3 going in, which is getting contradicted a little bit by the fact that they have 2 ties on the board, so they automatically gain security attack +2, and then they have the Greymon there for security attack +3. So if they do promote, they will be able to go for 1 check regardless because they will have security attack +3, and then you go the -3 with the Sakuyamon, and so you'll just have the neutral 1 check that the Jesmon checks, but they haven't promoted yet, so we're just going to be chilling. I'm going to build up some more blockers because if my opponent's going to go for piercing checks, then I need to be able to set up for the later part of the game after the piercing checks have come out, and I need to start blocking the direct attacks. But they are going to go ahead and consider promoting here, it looks like, but hasn't fully committed to it yet, hasn't played anything, so they still potentially can go. But now they're going to play the War Greymon, so have now committed staying and raising. They're going to be able to swing, can't unsuspend because no Sistermons, and they're just going to be swinging. I am going to go ahead and block that there because I don't want too many checks coming in too early. I want to slow down the game. If I were to have something like the TK Kari on board, then I would be able to leave it. My opponent's going to commit the Omnimon, so since it's just 1 check, I will allow it to go through. It's not too big of a deal. Omnimon is a card that I can get over if I get a high enough DP boost. My Shine is only at 12 right now because there's only 1 TK, which is a bit unfortunate, but I can go into the Valderarm and pop. Now my opponent's going to bring out the Jesmon that, like I said, has security attack +3, but then gains security attack -3, so now just has a neutral check. And so they can go in for these neutral piercing checks if they want to with the swing unsuspend. I'm going to go ahead and swing there with the Delicate Plan. I don't have any options in this list, so the Delicate Plan is a bit useless, but they are just there for just in case. I am going to let the piercing checks go through because there's no reason to block them there, and then they're going to play another Seal for free. And so there's 2 blockers on board, which is a bit annoying because I'm going to have to try and get over these. My opponent's now going to just play down a couple more Sistermons on board, so going very wide and making it so there's a pretty low chance that I'm actually going to be able to get over this Jesmon anytime soon. Especially since the Jesmon is buffed up to 15 once again, so I can't even swing my Valderarm over it in attempt. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the Rise here to play another Tamer and start searching. Now I can go into the Cantorasmon here, which gives all of them security attack -2, which is great, but the Jesmon still is going to have security attack +1 thanks to that Greymon inheritable, but we do get to counteract the 2 ties that are in the back. So my opponent can go in and swing for multiple checks, which is not something that I'm even going to really be able to stop. And honestly, the fact that all these Sistermon are on the board, it's looking really bad for me. I'm not actually sure how I'm going to be able to get over this at some point. I'm really going to need my opponent to hit all Tamers here, so that way I can go into a good Shine. But we're going to see that they hit one of the Tamers, which is fine, but they also hit a Shine, so there's a much lower chance that I hit this Shine and actually be able to have a way to pop this Jesmon going into the next turn. And then my opponent's going to go into the Savior Huckmon, which is scary because now that means that they can threaten threaten to go into another Jesmon next turn. I do get to gain 3 memory thanks to the TK Kari and the Kari now, but I am going to swing 2 checks and see what comes out of it. Didn't get to see exactly what those were, but we are going to survive, which is a little bit unfortunate because getting the minus DP reduction of Kentauruses on deletion would be really nice here, but we are just going to have to take what we get. Go into the red rise here, cycling, trying to find Shine, going to play out one of my tamers. It doesn't really matter which one I play here. The TK is going to be irrelevant, but the Kari will give me the extra memory. This allows me to go for 1 check here, go in for another check. My opponent's not blocking anything. I still just go in for checks, and now I'm trying to figure out if there's any way for me to go in for game and try to win here, just because my opponent didn't block any of the attacks, so there's too many Digimon on the board. I can't give them security attack -5 again, just because I only play the 1 Kentaurusemon, so even if I did have Shine, I wouldn't be able to clear enough on board to be able to stop these Sistermons and the Jesmon. So right now I'm just kind of, me and Chris are just talking out what potentially could happen if things were to happen, but the game is essentially over. I am going to go ahead and scoop it up here in a second after me and Chris talk out potential game plans if I were to hit Shine and stuff like that. But going into game 3, again, I'm going to be going second and having Chris go first. My opponent's going to go ahead and hatch, but they seem to have missed a rookie because they are just going to play the tie, which is fantastic for me because I need this deck to be a little bit slower for the Shine to get to where I need to be, because if they start popping off too early and get to that Jesmon, then they will just take me out. I need to try to find Sakuyamon. It's such a influential card in this matchup that I'm definitely going to want to try and find that before my opponent gets up to Jesmon. Now we see that they played the Sistermon there to draw, but once again whiffing a rookie, so I'm really getting a lot of time here. I'm going to Digivolve into the Rise, get the effect to play the TK and Kari for free, and then just go ahead and play down a Kari. My opponent's going to go to 3 anyway. Now they're just going to go ahead and drop down a Bauhuckmon here. They need to get something going, so just going to have to pass the rookie stage and get up into a champion so that the way they can start Digivolving on top of here, which not only give them cycle cards in hand, but also give them a way to even get up to their Jesmon. It also plays around the Sakuyamon that I was talking about, because if you play it this way, then I can't really get around it. I just have to get the Kentaurusemon. As I can see, I did just draw the Sakuyamon, so we are going to have it here, and then I'm just going to go straight up into the Valder, deleting the Jesmon and then gaining 1 memory from the Patamon inheritable, so my opponent will only go to 5. Now, I know I talked about how the Sakuyamon is going to be big to the success, but if my opponent's going to just be whiffing in the raising, then I don't need Sakuyamon as much. I need to get rid of the Jesmon on board. I do play the 2 Sakuyamon, so I can potentially get another one on board for now, the fact that my opponent's building and raising, but if I left that Jesmon on board, it could have been a little bit scary, and since I don't have the ShineGreymon, my only option there is going to be the Valderarm, but my opponent's starting to get a board built up now, going wide, and then getting the Greymon in the back. I'm going to go ahead and go into the Shine. I can only pop 2 of them, and so I decided to just pop the 2 rookies here and then allow the Sistermon to live. I get 2 checks in with the Valder and then 1 check in with the Shine there, which is going to hit an Omnimon. For some reason I thought I was at 15 for a second, but I'm at 14, so my Shine is going to go down to that Omnimon right there, which is a bit unfortunate, but at this point we're feeling pretty good. Going to go in the Rise and play another TK, the Yellow Rise, not allowing the on play of the TK to activate. My opponent's going to put me at 2. I will go to 3. I haven't checked it yet because I'm just going to go in with the Valder, and my opponent has no way of stopping this, so I'm just going to get those 2 checks in and go with the Rise. But with that being said, that is going to be today's match. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe because I'm going to be having Digimon content coming to you all the time. But I will see you tomorrow for some more BT6 matches. I hope you have a great day. Peace out.